Hi, this is Gina. Thank you for joining me for this Astrology Chat Live for February 13th, 2025. Today, I just want to take a look at the current chart and discuss a little bit. I feel like we're always sort of integrating after a full moon, but the sky is especially still right now. And it's just kind of interesting the way that that's happening after such a powerful full moon. So I feel like that is like worth talking about and sort of the main topic of today. Um, so yeah, like I said, we are sort of always processing after a full moon and um, it can be especially busy. I think we're always a little bit tired too. Many people have a little bit of a harder time sleeping when the moon is full. So sometimes the few days after a full moon, I find it's a good time to catch up on sleep a little bit and just sort of integrate everything. But yeah, the moon has moved on here into, let me use some arrows for this part. The moon has moved on here. My hope is that this is interesting and helpful, the chart work that I do, that it's interesting and helpful if you choose to pay attention to it, but also if you're just interested in the astrology, um, I hope it's still interesting for you as well. So I hope that it's useful for everyone at whatever level you're enjoying engaging in astrology right now. That is my intention, whether I hit the mark or not on most days. So the moon has moved from around this point to here when we had that full moon in Leo. And we're not going to have another aspect until Mercury moves into Pisces here, which will happen uh, tomorrow. Tomorrow? No, it's not even tomorrow. It's not for quite some time. Or no, that is happening tomorrow. Um, and then the sun is the next one, and that's in like a week. Other than that, all of the aspects that are in the sky, all of the transits that are happening, um, are fading. They were more exact before the full moon. So I just think that's kind of interesting. And we'll talk about some of the aspects that are still active in a minute. But aside from these planets going ahead, the Mercury and the Sun progressing into Pisces, um, it's a still sky for a few days. So that full moon really was powerful, and I think it gave us a lot to process. Um, this is a good time to be thinking about what showed up for you in the last few days. What happened that was sort of bold? Maybe something that was surprising. Um, it was probably something new. It may have involved you or other people feeling sort of especially confident, or maybe even a little bit of a performance, some sort of melodrama in some way. What sort of rose to the surface for you with this full moon that was surprising and new and different and um, dramatic, perhaps? Um, where was the light shining during this full moon? What was illuminated for you? What did you see? What surprised you? What were you thinking about? What were you moving forward? So, really, this full moon that occurred here in Leo will be active for the next 2 weeks. And it can be helpful to know where that occurred in your chart if you know the house and if you have any planets or other places in that house and sign. It can be helpful to think about it in terms of the house. If you check my channel, I have horoscopes for rising signs. And that would be a good way to find that out. I definitely spoke about this full moon in more detail in my daily horoscopes as well. But yeah, I think that we're processing and we're integrating what we learned, and that now is especially sort of quiet as we shift and change. But there are a few aspects that I want to talk about. I'm going to get rid of these arrows from before. And basically, these are things that are still active from before the full moon, right? It's nothing, these aren't new transits, but they're still active. So we have some interesting things going on with Mars right now. Mars is, of course, retrograde in Cancer and basically standing still in the sky at this 17-degree point for quite a while. And we have some interactions right now with Chiron. We have a square. Again, this is fading, but it is still active. And then we also have a trine with Saturn. Sorry, this is messy if you are following along and looking at the chart. Okay, so this is very interesting. So again, these are things that were a little more perfected earlier, but they're still active now. They might have been a part of that Leo full moon signature for you, but you're still feeling them now. I just think emotionally and sort of motivationally, the astrology suggests that we're having a little bit of a challenging time right now. You know, there may be some hurts that are sort of coming to the surface to be worked with, and that is a valuable process that ultimately gets us somewhere really great. I'm judging that from the Chiron piece, also with the Mars retrograde in Cancer. But that's difficult and tiring work. And, you know, wounds being triggered isn't always an easy thing. And, you know, it's interesting because I feel like this Leo full moon, in a way, was a little bit of a confidence boost amongst a time where that might be a little hurt. We might not be feeling as motivated or as confident or as sure of ourselves with this Mars retrograde process that we're going through. But I think during that Leo full moon, we had a little bit of an opportunity to sort of have a break from that and find our voice and find our confidence. And I think another thing that the astrology suggests that we may have found is some motivation that, and that's also not something that's easily activated during the Mars retrograde. But Mars trine Saturn, as much as those two planets can be a little bit difficult sometimes, when they work together in a trine, they really support us getting stuff done, moving projects forward, making things happen on the ground, actually making physical, real world progress. So I think all of those signatures are still active now, even though um, even though they're fading. And just the only other one that I want to mention is this Mercury. Well, I don't like that. Is this Mercury Sun conjunction. Again, these are the planets that are going to be progressing into Pisces, and I will talk about that soon, talk about that in the days to come. I'm here every day. If you enjoy this video, I really appreciate you giving it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more. But I just appreciate you watching, and feel free to chat away in the chat. I love to go back and forth. That's a big part of why I'm doing it live. Anyway, this Sun-Mercury conjunction, again, is starting to separate. We're starting to move away from this transit, but it's still active now. And it was sort of all about getting new ideas, new information. It's a very sort of intellectual, cerebral transit. We may have been speaking a little bit too quickly, kind of. I think with Venus and Aries as well, there's sort of been like a weird quickness where like you sort of get ahead of yourself. It can be hard to find the right words, but lots of new ideas breaking through to the surface, whether they're coming from within or from another. So it could be that you're just having the new idea through new things that you're learning, or it may even feel like sort of spontaneously, or it could be that someone is bringing you new information. And so that aspect is active right now. But it's a funny sky. Like we have Mars a little bit unhappy in Cancer. Venus is a bit uncomfortable in Aries. Both are sort of nearing a retrograde. Mercury is going to be going retrograde somewhat soon. And retrogrades are not bad. I have a video. I did a video a few weeks ago about how retrogrades are not negative. I'm going to attach that at the end here because they really aren't. But there is a slowing down, and sometimes it can be harder to make the kinds of progress that we're used to making. We make progress in different ways during retrogrades. And it's just kind of a powerful, potent sky a little bit. So I think we're processing whatever happened, whatever we learned, whatever came to the surface boldly, whatever felt dramatic, surprising in the last few days, and that we have a little quiet here to do that this week, actually, this weekend, I should say, the next few days. So I'm looking at my chat. I don't see any questions or anything today. Hi to CJ. And thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll be back again tomorrow.